Hi, everyone. Welcome to our November Community Fire Safe Council meeting. As people join in, we'll just be talking. This will be the last meeting of the year, so December will be taking a break. I would put the agenda up, but I know, Mike, you're on a tight time crunch here, so if you wanted to give us your update really quickly.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Atmospheric river, which we don't normally have in November, is upon us. It'll be great news for almost all of northwestern California down to the Redwood Empire, Santa Rosa, Napa County. Excellent for the Sierra Nevada, the Mother Lode, and the Central Valley. Probably as far south as maybe the Delta. Delta could get 2 inches. The driest desert is, of course, Cordelia. When you look at all the rainfall amounts, I should get 3 inches here. This will all start Wednesday morning and continue into the weekend, possibility of continuing next week into Thanksgiving. Beneficial rains. The ERC will go away. 10-hour fuels a lot sooner. And in my opinion, not to take any thunder away from Justin, should end the fire season by the weekend. I have to go to a union meeting. I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much for the time, and take care.
Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, do you know how far beyond next week the rain might be going? Because we're in the process of starting to plan for pile burning. So I just wanted to get a sense of, are we gonna have some dry? Do you know how long the rain will extend beyond next week?
Good question, Michelle. Some of the long-range data shows it going well into December, to mid-December.
Oh, wow.
And not continuous,
Okay.
but the 10-hour fuels and stuff on the ground is going to get pretty wet, even in Rockville Park,
Okay.
and would take a good north wind in 4 or 5 days to become combustible again. You and I can talk offline. Okay.
Perfect. Thank
All
you
right.
so much, Mike.
Good night, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Night. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right.
Oh, hey, David. I see you now. I hope that's David Stevens. If it's not, then that's awkward. Well, got that update. I guess we can move on to what's up to you guys. Do you guys want to move on to presentations, or you guys want to talk about the bylaws?
Do you mind putting the agenda on the screen real quick, Tina? Thank you.
Oh, yes. No, I don't mind, but yes, I'll put it on the screen. Here we go. I didn't put the bylaws in here because full transparency, I forgot.
This is my introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy to see you here.
Hello.
I won't take up too much time. As I'm opening this guy, so here we go. We're open. We got our weather update. There's also a freeze warning that starts tonight. So if you care about your plants and your animals, bring the animals inside. Give your plants a little blankie. Do we want to discuss bylaws first? Does that work?
Hey, Robin?
Sure.
I think when we were having that kind of meeting last week to talk about topics, we weren't thinking of bylaws discussion at this meeting, but that we would have a conversation about having it maybe in 2025, if that's helpful.
That is helpful because I missed the last meeting. So thank you, Michelle. We'll put that on the agenda for the first meeting of 2025. Get that out of the way. Okay. Looks like Chief Bengrel, you're up.
Hello and good evening, everybody. My name is Justin Bengrel. I'm the CAL Fire Chief responsible for Solano County. We have done a lot. We're trying to have more of an active presence in Solano County As many of you know, we only have one footprint per se in Solano County. It has to do with our inmate fire camp, and so there's not a lot of interaction generally with that unless there's an incident. So here I am for a little overview and update of CAL FIRE. Specifically tonight, I was asked to speak about the history of open burning and the permitting process and what that looks like. And I'll also give you an update as to what CAL FIRE staffing looks like. So a little bit of the history of the burn program in CAL FIRE. So if you go back to 40s, 50s, 60s, it was pretty wide open. As long as your fire didn't escape your property, you pretty much had the green light to do any type of fuels reduction or burning that you saw fit. Now, as you can see, as we encroached our developments into the wildland, our housing into the wildland, our communities developed in the wildlands, you could see how that was kind of a recipe for disaster. So obviously we cut way back on our fuels reduction projects and our burning projects through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. But with that, 40 to 50 year lapse of reducing the fuels, we kind of arrived at the situation where we're currently at with the abundance of fuels that Rochelle and Mark and the Green Valley Cordelia bunch can attest to. So that's kind of where we were, where we've been, and where we're currently at today. So we had a program in the 70s and 80s, and it was originally to minimize or eradicate chaparral. It was known as the Chaparral Management Program. Well, that morphed into what we call our Vegetation Management Program. So our Vegetation Management Program is what we're generally operating under today. So anytime you use public funds for a project, whether it's on government lands, public or private lands, it does require some sort of environmental review. And so that's why oftentimes people are very frustrated with the process, with how slow it seems, how cumbersome it seems. We are using public funds, and we do have to follow the current environmental laws of the state. So there's several types of burning. There's pile and or debris burning for fire hazard reduction or fuels reduction. And then there's also broadcast burns. And broadcast burns are what you're going to see what I'm referring to generally in our VMP program. So that's a little bit about the history of our burn program. We are working with several communities throughout Solano County. And the unit, which our unit is again 6 counties, Sonoma, Lake Napa, Colusa, Yolo, Solano. So we're working throughout the unit on our prescribed burns under the VMP and under a Cal VTP, which is a different type of agreement. So we do have several projects going unit wide. Locally, we're doing some pile and debris burning with the Green Valley Fire Safe Council. And we have our day-to-day projects going in Vallejo watershed and several conservation projects throughout Solano County. So that's what CAL FIRE is generally doing when it comes to burning and or the fuels reduction work. What that does is allows the fuel to be consumed by fire rather than hiring a chipper and or hauling it offsite, which can be prohibitively expensive, as those people that watch the Dollars and Cents can attest to. So now, what can we do on our local level or in our own communities? We get that question asked very frequently. There are several options that homeowners can take advantage of. I don't want to get too far into it because Chief Abruzzini is going to speak a little bit more on that, but I'll give you a brief overview of the requirements and the permitting when it comes to CAL FIRE. So What many of you in the room used to know as fire season or non-fire season. We have tried to go away from that terminology. We try to do it based on our preparedness level now, because California is truly never out of a fire season. We burned up, unfortunately, there's 200 homes in Ventura County that burned, I think it was 2 weeks ago. So their fire season is truly year round in California. So we have preparedness levels now. And so what's changed is the unit chief no longer declares fire season or declares non-fire season. It's nuanced now. And what the options is he can declare a burn suspension. So when the unit chief declares a burn suspension, which is generally speaking, it's not hard and fast dates, generally speaking, May through October, there's a burn suspension. And that means there's no open burning without a CAL FIRE permit in the state responsibility wildland areas. So state responsibility again is generally off the valley floors, and it's a watershed area where water gathers from the storms and goes to the into the small streams, which eventually lead to the creek, which eventually lead to the river, to the ocean. So your watershed areas are generally off the valley floors, and they are wildland areas. Those are state responsibility areas where CAL FIRE is statutorily responsible for protecting those areas from wildland fire, excuse me. And we're also responsible for forest lands as well. So around here, we don't have many forest lands, but it's generally the same definition, state responsibility area. So the unit chief can declare a burn suspension in state responsibility areas, and that's going to trigger a permit from your local CAL FIRE station. Now, it's all available online, and that's if you want to do like a pile and or debris burn during that declared burn suspension. There is one exemption that is generally granted during that declared burn suspension. We generally will not support an LE5 unless there's significant rain forecasted and he just hasn't declared burn season again. So you have a window, a small window, early May, and then the end of October, where we will write you the permit. But generally speaking, we are not writing permits July, August, September. The potential for an escape wildfire is too great. And we just have to be very, very careful about permitting during a declared burn suspension. And again, declared burn suspension means you have to have a CAL FIRE permit to do your open burning. The one exception by declaration of the county ag commissioner when it comes to dead or diseased vines and or crops, an LE5 will be written in that instance. But again, it's an inspected pile, or excuse me, it's an inspected site. There has to be some sort of firefighting mitigation measures on site. And we give you a very, very narrow window, like, you have to have your burning done within, 2 to 3 days. So that is what the permitting looks like for CAL FIRE during a declared burn suspension. And, that's only one piece of it, because you also have to get an air quality management permit. And the air quality management permit will or they call it a notification, air quality management notification, I believe. And that's for, again, fire hazard reduction. And there's a fee for that one. So both of these permits are available, permits and notifications are available online, calfire.org. And then depending on what air quality district you're in, Yola, Solano, Bay Area, you are able to get their notification forms on their respective websites. Then when that is all in order, you have to confirm it's a burn day, make notifications to dispatch to your local fire district. They may or may not have a requirement, which Chief Abrazini is going to speak about. and then you are free to conduct your burn. So again, these are small hazard reduction burns, not necessarily a broadcast burn. So you're not going to rip off your whole hillside, but you're going to do, 4x4, 8x8, piles, small piles that are generally more than 2 to 3, or excuse me, I think it's more than 4 cubic yards, which then it becomes less cost effective to haul away. I think it's 5 yards. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong when it comes to Bay Area air quality, at least. And that's what the permitting requirements look like from the CAL FIRE side. I do sympathize with everybody because it can be very, very confusing and very cumbersome. But I just want to encourage you to do your homework, do your research, contact your local officials, contact the CAL FIRE folks to see what burning at that time of year looks like. So once the unit chief removed our burn suspension, and I believe it was on November 1st, statutorily, CAL FIRE does not require a burn permit, even though the link will stay live on the CAL FIRE website. By statutorily, we do not require it after that. I believe it was November 1st. Let's see where we're at with. I'll go over current status for staffing. We are currently at 31 engines, 6 dozers, 7 hand crews, and 3 helicopters. We expect to stay fully staffed at that model until we transition on or about December 15th. That's the update from CAL FIRE, and I believe I still have a few minutes for any questions in regards to open burning and or update for CAL FIRE. Thank you. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you. Are there any questions for CAL FIRE? Okay, Tina, I don't have the agenda in front of me. Is Chief Abruzzini next?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thanks, Chris. Chief?
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. I put together a little PowerPoint just to kind of go over some of the basic information. Justin went in a lot more detail than I will tonight with you, so we'll show you the links and the process of the county. And then I also have Dave Kuntz from Vacaville that will speak on behalf of Vaca District. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, and let me know if you guys can see this. But now, where'd my presentation go here? There it is. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Of course, it's already at the back, huh? No. Okay, so for some reason here, let me move all yours. So I got the Solano Fire Protection Districts. We're just going to kind of cover the basic burn process that each of the districts go over. So step 1 for permitting for our process is contact your local fire district to obtain a burn permit. So all the districts are available to issue in the office during normal business hours. Vacaville District and Montezuma, you can both obtain online. So Chief Coates, do you have anything to add for your online piece here?
I think you're doing wonderful.
Okay, perfect. So once you obtain the local, just kind of move on to step 2 in the permitting process, which comes down to the location of the burn. So if you're located within the SRA, within CAL FIRE's jurisdiction, the website that's right here on the slide is where you can go to obtain it during the season that Justin talked about where you needed your burn permit. If you're not within the SRA, you can just move on to step 3. So step 3 is obtaining your open burn notification form online. Our county is split between the 2 air districts. So the first one is the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, and the other one is Yolo's Solano Air Quality Management. So when you open up the Bay Area Air Quality one, that's kind of the picture you see what their open burn notification status looks like. So the air quality management districts is what controls the fire for us of what you're allowed to burn. For Bay Area air quality is regulation 5 that you're going to want to look at. And as far as Earl of Solano would be regulation 2. For the reg 5, I have everything for my area for the air quality district, but they allow 17 types that is permissible to burn. So a lot of it is agricultural. So we'll briefly kind of cover some of these. So disease and pest. If you have any agricultural crops that have disease and pest, you're allowed to burn that year round. That during the summertime season, when it's not an agricultural burn, you have to go through the Ag Commission to get a certificate, which then they'd come to the local districts to get their burn permit for that short window. Crop replacements. So if you're tearing out any kind of your crops, they can burn that. Orchard prunings as well. Double crop stubble burns. The ones that kind of get into here would be the hazardous material. So if you look under that section, it will show the prevention of reduction of fire hazard. So a lot of the vegetation on the hillsides can fall under that category, but they have a lot more information on their website under their Reg 5. For us, fire training, anytime that we're going to do any kind of training burns, we have to abide by these as well, and we have to get a permit. You got flood debris, irrigation ditches in the ag setting, flood control. So fire set for the purpose of disposal materials which come in from the flood side of it. Up here, there we go. Then you got range management. So fire set for the purpose of range management and grazing. So that section kind of comes into raising of cattle and those kind of things to get rid of some of the invasive weeds to enhance the grass growth for the ranchers. You got the forest management. So fire set for the purpose of removing forest debris in the forest. Then you got the marsh management fires. So out in like Grizzly Island and the marshlands, they have to abide by a pretty strict process through the regulation 5. And then contraband. So contraband is just the burning of like in the past of marijuana crops, things like that, that was confiscated. So is there, let's see here. Okay, so wildland vegetation management. So prescribed burning by the public agencies. So if there's any cooperative agreements, contracts that we can do together, that would fall under that category. They allow for filmmaking, so any kind of fire set for commercials or TV film. And then you got public exhibition fire set as part of planned civic events designed to educate or otherwise benefit the public. So if we're going to do any kind of training for the public with any kind of that, we'd have to get a permit as well. So the air quality is the one that definitely controls what we allow for burning. But the main reason why we allow for permitting on our side, it gets the notification through our dispatch center. And then if there is any kind of regulation that we want to put in effect at the time, we do require you to have on-site water, some basic hand tools for the basic knowledge of if you have a small escape from your pile. But there is a section that allows us to bill if you have an escaped fire that you did not follow regulation. But for the most part, we cover all those costs in the permit process. And then if it's severe where you're doing or burning something illegally, we'll get air quality involved, and they're the ones that handle that process. So is there any questions on the basic permitting process? If anyone would like this PowerPoint, let us know and we can send that over to you. See, stop sharing my screen here and get back. Okay, and then the other update that I got for the fire districts, our seasonal staffing, at least for the Suisun area, we're going to be ending our program at the end of November. So to starting December 1st, we will not have our second engine for the wildland side staffed. It appears we would have enough rain in our area. Vaca district, I'll let him speak on that piece. Dave, Chief Koontz.
Yep. We're in the same scenario, so we won't have that second unit, but we do have a first unit out available. And again, we're in the same boat, so plenty of rains forecast.
So if anyone has any questions for either one of us, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
So- On the presentations, Robin, my name's next, but I think Chris should go first. And then just because, you know, they're active in the Prescribed Burn Association stuff, and then we can kind of add on if that's okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Chris, is it you or Karen?
Yeah, it'll be me, and I'm sure Karen will probably fill in. The best person to do is Elizabeth, since she's kind of heading up most of our prescribed burn stuff, but she couldn't. Well, she could, but I didn't tell her in time. Anyway, so basically, y'all probably know that Solano RCD, our main thrust in this whole burning is basically to get more good fire on the ground. And we plan to do that through Prescribed Burn Association, through working with local tribes as far as cultural burns, and then also to work with obviously you all and local fire professionals on how we can do that. Another thing is one of the main things as far as, and the other one is pile burns. And one of the main things that I wanted to bring up tonight is that we're working with Rochelle and other partners to hold 2 pile burn workshops in the near future. And that's because we see that as something that everyone does. It's funny when we tell some people, they're like, "You mean burning a pile?" We said, yes, we people need help with how to actually burn piles in a more efficient and safe way. So we feel like it's something that more people are doing, and that it would be good to have a couple workshops. And it seems like it's being pretty well received as far as that. But we have to nail down the details, and Rochelle will probably have more information on that. Our crew and YOLO RCD and others did actually took part in a prescribed burn along Puda Creek, and it was a really neat event. And that's kind of how we're getting our experience and getting our chops as far as doing prescribed burns, is joining other people. We have several people in our office that are getting, I think they're red cards and getting training, and we're also picking up some equipment so that we can actually take part in some of these smaller burns. One other thing is that we actually have 3 different prescribed burn locations in planning right now. That is, as you all know, and we're working in concert with CAL FIRE, local fire professionals and leaders on those too. But they're not as easy to organize and get going. But one of the locations is on Solano Land Trust property, and it's actually within their management plans to actually do burns in certain locations on their properties. So it would make sense for us to join. One thing is that as far as Prescribed Burn Association, basically community burns, we feel that by our progress so far, that those may be an aspect of the burning that happens in the future. But we're thinking that, at least as of now, the burns that we'd be able to do in the nearer future are ones with fire professionals taking the lead and actually assisting and leading those fires. So basically, it's going about it and promoting all these different methods and learning as much as we can and working on our partnerships so that we can get more good fire on the ground. And we're relying on all of our partners and fire professionals to help us make that happen. Any questions? That's on specifics, but not too specific.
And you're gonna let us know on the pile burning
Oh
training?
yeah, absolutely.
I think there are probably more people that need that training than realize.
Then admit it. That's what I
Yes.
found too. Exactly. So we feel like that's the lower hanging fruit and something that would be really needed, and something that I think is doable.
Yeah. Having observed my father put together a burn pile, it's terrifying. Not in this county though, so. Okay.
Yeah, and Elizabeth has put together, I'm sure it's information that you all see, but she's putting together a guide based on information that's already been produced, and then sharing with you all to to basically make sure that it's the information that's correct, and that it'll be a resource for folks that want to do it as well, for the trainings.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yep.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna go into the Fire Safe Councils, and we're gonna start with Rochelle, Green Valley
Okay,
Fire Safe Council.
Great. So yes, let me tag off of Chris, and I wanted him to start first because they've got this effort with prescribed burns and then the burning workshop. So we have identified a location in Green Valley, have already secured the property owners. There's a location, it's on the city of Vallejo's property, already spoke to the staff there, so they're okay with it. It's a great location. Already spoke to the property owner in terms of access. For those of you that went on the tour, you may recall going down to kind of at the base. It's a Wendy Lowe's driveway off of Rockville Road, and we were able to get out kind of flat. She's open for us to be able to park, and then we would walk over to the city of Vallejo. So Elizabeth and I will be walking as soon as this raining season, the rain days go away, which is great that we've got them. So it doesn't bother me if it takes us a couple weeks, but we will be doing that. We'd be looking to somewhere in January, February for that pile burn workshop. And my experience is, and Mark Juni, who's on the Cordelia Fire Protection District Board and also on Green Valley Fire Safe Council, can probably attest to this, is that in Green Valley, because of fire and because of the conditions there, when people see smoke, they freak out. And so it has been something we've identified as a real need for education. I think a pile burn workshop is one aspect of that education. I think there's a lot more education beyond that needs to happen. I mean, I came from a rural community, Tuolumne County, and I used to do pile burns by myself because that's just what we grew up doing it. That's just how you manage a lot of your fuels. So anyway, we'll be following all the permits. Also, for those of you that attended the tour, you have a good sense of that we have a lot of piles that have been created from the result of the shaded fuel break, where we've cut the ground and ladder fuels where it was accessible. We chipped or masticated, and there's places where we can't get a chip or a masticator. So I was actually out there today with some of the members of the CAL FIRE Fuels crew. Chief Banger also, I was out there with Stacy and some of the other members there. We walked to identify our priority locations and basically are working to set up a plan. CAL FIRE will be on site and just coordinating all the partners to do this work. Really excited for the partnership. It's the only way that we get this kind of stuff done. And, CAL FIRE has just been invaluable. And I think we just can't give them enough praise for all the work and partnerships that they have done. For the Green Valley Fire Safe Council update in general, thanks to those of you that came. We thought the tour was very good. It was great to have you guys get a chance to lay eyes on it. Since that time, I would say since the end of since July 1st, we've treated another roughly 20 acres. So we are now at 100 acres treated in total on the shaded fuel break, and we've covered the entire west side of Green Valley from Mason Road all the way up, even further up past the water treatment plant. And so we're now at the intersection where we can start cutting across to the east side. So we've made a lot of progress. Other than that, things are going good. We're just in the middle of our Firewise renewal for David Stevens. And of course, Ralph's not here. 5th year, you have to redo your community wildfire risk assessment. So we'll be looking at doing that, early 2025. It'll be our time. And that's all I have.
That's awesome.
Mark, you unmuted. Did you want to jump in? I'm sorry. Sorry, Robin.
Floor is yours, Mark.
Oh, you're on mute.
No, I don't have anything to add. Just very happy with the fire break being put around Green Valley. We did have a great success with one of our local landowners that had a walnut orchard that they cut down, and we worked with the Bay Area Air Quality District to get a grant to have a Davy tree out there to chip. They did not want to burn, but to chip their down walnut trees, and the whole neighborhood is very happy. So nothing else to add.
Did they chip that on site or did they remove?
They chipped it on site.
Okay.
And they're going to spread it as mulch.
Okay,
But the neighbors are very happy because those piles of downed trees are now gone.
yeah, definitely.
What Mark isn't telling you is that he took the lead in the initiative and he submitted the application. So, you know, it takes everybody. He's the one that championed this and made it happen. So good job, Mark.
It
That's
takes a
fantastic.
village.
Hey, Mark, how did you find the right person through Bay Area Air Quality Management District to find that resource for other folks?
What'd you say, Dave?
How did you find that resource through Bay Area Air Quality Management District to get Davy Trees to come help with those?
The Solano RCD pointed us to it. And we just followed up, and originally we contacted them in May. They put the chipping program on hold over the summer, restarted it in October, so we resubmitted our application, and it's been great. I mean, the landowner is ecstatic because they paid nothing to have all of that chipped, and now we have piles of mulch that they're going to spread around their property. But again, the neighbors are ecstatic.
Dave, Chief Representative, if you go onto the Bay Area Air Quality Management District's website and go into the open burning, they have a chipping section in there that you can fill out the application for. It's mainly for the agricultural side where they don't want to, they want to limit the amount of burning that you can do to put less smoke into the air. So usually if the company or rancher or farmer is roughly, I want to say 750,000 or less, you qualify. So just kind of go to their website and look under their chipping section.
You're right. Thank you.
That's awesome. This is exactly what this meeting is supposed to be. I love that. David, you're actually up for Pleasants Valley Fire Safe Council.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate the topic, and the timing is perfect. Burn season's already started in the greater Vacaville region. We sent out training on our email distribution for the Fire Safe Council and on our communications resource that we use in the community called BAND. We have a training presentation that we had shared with folks, and then we had a video from our previous pile burning training that was done by one of our members and one of the Vacaville District volunteers, Chris Garcia. And it just goes over the ins and outs of conducting safe pile burns in the community. It's a very thorough presentation. If folks want to see that, we can share that with folks. But really looking forward to the rain that is in the forecast, and it couldn't come soon enough. We're seeing quite a few pile burns starting in the community, and I know there was at least one just up the street from me today that had an ember escape and caught a mulch pile on fire. So we do need the rains. Additionally, we too are we're currently updating our annual Firewise update, and Christine Reader is submitting those documents currently, and we had community reported their hours and what works they had performed on their properties to continue to improve our wildfire improvements and the community impacts that they provide through their properties through home hardening measures or through wildfire reduction activities. So that is all I have this evening. There was one item that I wanted to clarify with regards to the Yellow Solano Air District. The Yellow Solano Air District does not require a burn permit for rural residential burning, but they do require a burn permit for agricultural burning. And there is a very distinct difference that folks can find if they go visit the Yellow Solano Air District website. But if you do rural residential burning, you do not have to get a permit from them. You only need to get it from the fire district. So thank you. If anyone has any questions.
Penny, I saw you pop onto camera. Do you want to add anything?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I will echo David's comment there about our air district's requirements. He is correct in that the air district does not require a burn permit from the air district for rural residential yard burning. So if you're conducting a yard burn around your house from material that is like ornamental trees or shrubs from around the residence, then you just have to verify that it's a burn day with us. Contact your local fire district to get approval. If it is agricultural burning, then you do need to get a permit from us.
And if you've gone through this rodeo before, you know they'll give you a password. And when you call dispatch, you better have the password. Otherwise, they're going to make you call them back.
It's almost like you've done this before.
For many, many years. I still get flashbacks sometimes.
And just a reminder, we are in the, depending where you're located, we are in the Bay Area Air Quality Management District as well. So you have to know which air district you're in.
There's a couple of phones on my screen. Did anybody from Glen Cove Fire Safe Council join? Okay, I don't see anyone unmuting. Okay. That's gonna take us, Chris already went. Okay. So that concludes our presentations and the updates from those particular partners. So I will give the update from Solano County, and my most exciting and beautiful update is going to pop onto camera. Ta-da!
Hi, everyone.
This is Stacy Fenn. She is an emergency services coordinator, filling the county coordinator role. She started last week, right?
Yes.
Yes, last week. Time all runs together these days. And just completed all of the onboarding county required stuff. So is jumping in. Her background, while not necessarily in fire discipline specifically, she has phenomenal experience in the first responder world, project management, working with community groups like you wonderful folks here. And I'm going to let her speak to some of her experience, but I'm very happy to have her on. And she's going to be partnering in the beginning with one of our volunteers who was assistant fire chief for Travis Fire, now retired, and working for us for free to lend his knowledge and experience in the fire arena, as well as I'm sure meeting all of the lovely fire folks on this call and tapping to get information and growing in that area. So Stacey, do you want to give a little intro, say hello?
Hi,
I
everybody.
was going to do that. I'm sorry.
I'm Stacy Fenn. I'm super excited to be here. My background is actually more kind of law enforcement related. But I've been a government contractor for the last probably 13 years, but I'm super excited to work with you all, and I can't wait to meet you guys in person and talk more soon.
Woohoo, Stacy.
Thank you, Tina. So you're going to see her name starting to come through on stuff, and she'll be reaching out, and I appreciate everyone in advance for being the amazing folks that you are and welcoming her to this process and this journey and this team. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Glad to have you here.
Oh yeah, Karen, I already told her. I was like, oh yeah, I'll have to send you Karen's information because you're gonna be working here.
Glad to be here.
Okay, so that was our most exciting update. The second most exciting update is that we had our kickoff meeting. This is looking at you, Leanne, although I can't see you. We had our kickoff meeting for Pulse Point. Solano County has acquired Pulse Point for Solano County Sheriff's Office dispatch. So Pulse Point is a program that connects directly to the CAD, so it will not be countywide since we have more than one dispatch center in the county and they all have their own CAD system. It will only be connected to Solano County's CAD, which unfortunately will not any longer cover Cordelia Fire Protection District since they're now dispatched by Fairfield. However, once we get on the train of consolidation, which we're on, but it's not moving quite quickly enough yet, but we're there. We're closer to that destination than I've ever seen in my career. That will put everyone on one CAD, and then it will be countywide at that point. But for now, it is going to be connected to Solano's CAD. So the agencies dispatched by Solano will be receiving that service. That will include Vaca District, Sassoon District, Montezuma, City of Dixon, City of Rio Vista, since that's who is dispatched by Solano. So we haven't done a public announcement as far as press releases yet, because we don't know what the public rollout and timeline looks like just yet. We got stuck in that kickoff meeting on some more technical questions and didn't get to the PR part before we ran out of time. And if you're familiar with Pulse Point, then you know it comes with an EMS side. So there's two pieces to Pulse Point. One piece is it provides situational awareness information to folks that sign up. You have to register. It's not going to force message anybody on medical and fire calls for service in their area. So this is our answer to, like Rochelle was saying earlier, and Leanne has been saying to me since I met her, there is a need for community information on incidents that are occurring, because especially since LNU, there has been a significant increase in fear responses anytime smoke is seen or smelled. And that is very overwhelming for the dispatch center, particularly in burn season. So, and I agree. So, but the side of me that does public alert and warning says I can't send those messages out to everybody just because there's an incident happening if I don't need you to take a protective action for yourself. So this is our answer and solution to that, because it is vetted information since it's connected to the CAD. So we use and love Watch Duty here as much as everyone else on this call, but it's not considered validated, verified information since it doesn't come directly from a first responder organization and is not connected to CAD. So Pulse Point is. So if that information comes through, you know that that's because it was put into the CAD system and a responder is going. So it does protect the privacy of the folks who are receiving assistance. If you're in a private residence, it's not going to put on blast that you're having a fire or medical emergency specifically at your address. It will give a generalized area. If you're in a public building, it will give you the specific location. So if it's commercial or public building, that full location will be there. So the other side of the system is, which was actually the original purpose of the program before it grew into this other tool, is to reduce cardiac death. So what it does is it allows people who are certified in CPR or physicians or nurses or folks that have the proper credentials to sign up in the system and then be notified if there's an incident that's within a certain geographical location to them of somebody in cardiac arrest, so that we can get CPR started as soon as possible. It also allows AED information to be uploaded as a layer. So a bystander or somebody certified.
Little Spider-Man shows.
Thank you. Somebody nearby the incident, it will also tell you if there's an AED nearby. And what I just learned on the kickoff call that was interesting, because this I think is new, is because we're also expanding and growing our Stop the Bleed program in the county, you can also put if there's a trauma kit at that location as well, which is cool. So that side takes a little bit longer and more in-depth planning to roll out to the community, since there's going to be more questions about how that side of the program works, but it's going to be rolled out as one situational awareness tool and the EMS piece. So just know that that's coming, but you guys heard it here first. Kickoff meeting happened. So it was a long time. It took a long time to get that funding worked out, but we got it. Cybersecurity review was poorly timed at the time of a cyber break or a cybersecurity attack at North Bay and at the libraries, and our cyber folks shut it down. It took months to get that thing through, but we persevered. We got it, and I'm very excited because I understand the fear, and I also want everyone to stop calling every time there's smoke in the air. It's Napa. It's always Napa. It's just smoke from Napa. They're in my EOC this week for
Robin.
training, and I was giving them a hard time. You guys share all your fires with us. Stop doing that. I interrupted you, Leanne. I'm sorry.
No, congratulations, Robin. Thank you
Thank
so much.
Thank you.
This is great news, and I think it's going to help heal, our fire devastated community and put more confidence in our OES and law enforcement as well, and firefighting communities. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just excited to have a tool to be able to share with folks, because I hate saying, well, there's kind of a tool, but it's not a vetted tool. Now we'll have a vetted tool. And I'm not sure yet. We may need a testing group. If so, I'm going to tap you, Leanne. I think I have your number.
Okay.
But more to come on that. You guys also, when we
Great.
eventually do a press release, I'll make sure to share when we do social media, so you guys can share on all your platforms and then get all your folks to get the app and get those notifications. But long time coming, but those are my two biggest achievements for OES, not mine. No, I shouldn't have said mine. My team's biggest achievements for the year is getting that Pulse Point contract through. Shout out to Tina. And getting Stacy onboarded and enrolling. And shout out to Stacy for being here. I'm very excited.
Awesome. And shout out to Leanne for being the advocate for this. Man, she's been the advocate. So exactly.
Yes.
Well, Yolo County's lucky they have it. And I'm connected with Winners in Yolo County, and it's very helpful.
Yeah. There's a lot of users in this area, so it'll fill a gap geographically. Yeah. So,
excellent.
there are probably other things that I could tell you about, but those are the most exciting ones. So we'll leave with that.
Good positive note to end on.
Does anyone else have any questions, comments, or updates before we close out 2024?
Robin, I do.
Yes.
I want to acknowledge and thank Justin Bingerall and CAL FIRE for the LE 100 inspections they conducted in the Green Valley area. It was very much needed and appreciated, and we thank them for their time.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Mark. I'll be sure to pass that along to all those involved. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Justin. It's nice to see your face finally. Yeah, thank you. That's all.
Okay, and then one of the other things that Stacy is going to be starting to roll with, and y'all might start seeing some questions on participation, is the upcoming May 2025 Wildfire Preparedness Day event. So planning for that's got to start now. So y'all will start seeing some information on that from her. So Rhonda.
Hi, good evening. Just from the Solano VOAD, just wanted to let folks know that we're in conversation with Clean California and Keep California Beautiful. There's some grant opportunities that are available here for Solano County, specifically with reducing fire fuel. We'll know more over the next month. Our next meeting is December 2nd. We did suggest that they reach out to Solano RCD, which I believe there's already a project in the making, and then the Green Valley Fire Safe Council with Rochelle. So we gave those two organizations first as kind of let's see what can happen. But they do have funds to assist with working with Rochelle, I now know what to ask for. So things like chippers and tools and creating a tool library or checkout system that Fire Safe Councils can keep the tools, those kind of things. So we really are working on behalf of all of you represented here on the call. And if you have particular areas that you could say, you know, we'd really love volunteers to help, you know, clean out an area. It's not litter pickup. So we want to make sure they're very clear with that. It has to reduce any potential fires. But please reach out to me and we can put your organization on the list for them to reach out. I think we'll be kind of toggling back and forth with responsibility, but I did want to make sure the group was aware that those grant opportunities are available. And they have money for things like what we never have money for, right? Feed volunteers and, you know, gas cards and all of those kind of things that sometimes grants don't cover. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Rhonda. That's amazing because I know we've talked previously, or I've spoken, I think, with several different people about the idea of, you know, equipment or tool checkout system. And if there's a way that one of your organizations can facilitate that through a grant, that's fantastic because I don't have to worry about going through county council related to liability of the county's name being attached to somebody sticking their arm in a chipper. So it's a great resource that I think would be phenomenally used and available to the community that I think my organization would be a hindrance in trying to lead. So I love that as an available resource.
And Rhonda, we can use all the volunteers, so I'll reach out.
Sounds good, Rochelle.
If you didn't see, Tina, as always prepared, mentioned, don't forget to share sandbag locations. If there's upcoming weather, I am personally hoping that it's a gentle rain comes through, doesn't make us have to work every day into December. Mike says halfway into December, and I went, oh, no. So, Wendy, I see that you're unmuted. Do you have an update or comment?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're totally fine. I didn't mean to call you out. Just
Okay.
want to cover you if you wanted to say anything. Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to do last call, questions, comments, concerns, congratulations.
Can I add something real quick, Robin?
Of course.
So we've been working very well, the different districts for that same goal is so that we're all unified and using that same process. And Chief Aberzini has been kind of spearheading that, which works great. And so a lot of us have moved to a newer system. It's called ESO. And basically what it allows us to do is when we have those control burns, we can then download that as a map layer and insert it and upload it into our dispatching software that the departments use, so we can see where the control burns are while en route. So it helps us predict that. So that's why it's critical that people are at least filling out those permits and notifying dispatch, but at least we can see those that have applied by working together. So that's been great.
Oh, so the map layer on ESO is going to connect to the CAD map on who's been permitted?
Opposite. So we have our database of people that have applied for a burn permit. We will add that layer to active 911. ESO is a separate, that's another squirrel scenario, but
okay,
that's how it works.
Sorry, you made my dispatch brain happy for a minute. So wait a minute, what? But control burns is one of the items that we did want to come through on Pulse Point for the purpose of community awareness. And if you live in the Vaca district area, you know that's hundreds of permits. So it may be overwhelming a little bit when those start coming through, but we get a lot of calls on smoke or flame seen, those kinds of things. So we did decide at least at this point to push control burn information through when control burns are called in. we can always change that after the fact if it becomes too overwhelming and not useful to the community. So just so you know.
Hey, Robin, it's David. I have a couple items.
Yeah.
One, to tie into what Chief Kunst was just saying, I would guess that the chiefs could probably give dispatch a log on to their ESO to have for the dispatch staff to log on and see those permits from the dispatch center. Which could be
Probably. It's just if they're working that it as an incident, they log into 1,000 different things. So
right. And then my other item ties into Pulse Point. And although I understand the original intent with Pulse Point with regards to private residences not displaying their address, for those of us that live in the rural environment, our neighbors are our closest potential emergency responders. And if there's an avenue that Pulse Point could create to where those that choose to have their information shared in the event of at least CPR events, that would be, I think, an incredibly valuable resource to the community, especially the rural environment. So
I can
something to
share
think
that.
about.
I think that's how their program is coded. I don't
Understood.
think it will allow that, but I will ask.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. I didn't ask if there were any questions or concerns about Pulse Point from the group. But I'll take that back, David, and I'll ask them. I have an assumption that it's a coding issue, but that's an assumption, so I'll verify that. Okay, so we're on recess for holidays in December, and we're back in starting 2025 fresh in January with the bylaws on the agenda. And I look forward to seeing you all, and I'm excited for a fantastic year next year, and happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Happy holidays, Ron.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Robin.
Happy and safe
Happy holidays,
holidays.
everyone.
Yeah, drive safe, Karen.
Will do.
Good night. Take care. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.